but has feathers, talons, and flies, and has the most alluring song I've ever heard. Besides that cattail, yes, that's right, it's the Harpy. Let's go ahead and dive into this winged creature and see if this monstrosity holds up to the printed CR1 that it claims to be. Let's talk about the playstyle for our Harpy here. Now, because the defensive capabilities are higher than our offensive capabilities, we're going to see that, in essence, we're more of a tank-style monster. But in this case, we're more of a controller tank. We're not really worried too much about actually sitting there and taking damage because we only have 38 hit points. In essence, we want to keep the creature charmed and bring them into traps or other ways of being caught up, because the Harpy is very fragile and can't actually take the damage that we are expecting to from a tank style character. So in essence, this is a controller style tank and should be played accordingly. We don't have the offenses to do actual damage to our players here. So we're going to go ahead and start from the top. We're going to add in the 11 AC. We're going to see that it's a medium monstrosity, so we can leave the size as it is. We're going to add in the 7d8 for the hit dice. And then we're going to see that it also has a 20-foot movement and 40-foot flying speed. Again, we're looking for a CR1, so we're going to go ahead and drop that into the tool here. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and start dropping in the stats. So we have 12 strength, 13 dex, 12 constitution, 7 intelligence, 10 wisdom, and 13 charisma. Now, the next thing we want to do is just compare the mods to the saves to see if we have any saving throw proficiencies, which we don't have. So that's good. We'll see that we don't have to worry about adjusting the saving throws here, and we can move on from there. Now, the next section would be to look at the monster traits here, and we'll see that we only have senses and common language, so we don't have to really worry about adjusting anything from here. So our monster is going to be very simple to mess around with. Next, we have the action section here, and we only have 2 actions. We have a claw or the luring song. So first we'll start with the claw. We have a +3 to hit, which is coming from either the strength or the dexterity, and we can go ahead and leave that attack bonus as it is. From there, we have an attack of slashing damage for 6 average damage, coming from 2d4 plus its strength or dexterity bonus, so we can just add in one of those. 2d4 plus strength is giving us a total of 6 average damage, and then we're going to go ahead and just drop that into place down here. The next item to deal with is the luring song. So this luring song works a little differently than the 2014 edition and other versions of the Harpy as well. We have the Harpy sings a melody and which lasts until the Harpy's concentration ends. So this ability or this action is acting like a concentration spell. So once you start it, it just doesn't end. So we're constantly singing. We don't have to worry about using a bonus action to trigger the luring song each round. It's just once it starts, it goes. And in all cases, the Harpy is going to be singing well before combat starts. So you don't have to worry about using this during combat. It's already going to be active. From there, we have a wisdom save of DC 11. Each humanoid within 300 feet of the emanation has to make the save. If they fail, they become charmed and gain the charmed condition. So we'll see that while the creature has charmed condition, you experience the following effects. Can't harm the charmer, and they have social advantage on you. So we have that charmed ability. On top of that, we are also incapacitated. So we have that condition as well. For incapacitated, we'll see that we have the following experiences. Inactive, you can't take any action, bonus action, or reaction. No concentration, your concentration is broken. You're speechless, and you can be surprised. If you're incapacitated when you roll initiative, you have disadvantage on the roll. Now, the one thing it noted in here during the inactive section is that you can still move, which is part of the luring song feature here. So you just stop talking and you move directly towards the Harpy. Now, the thing here to make note is that you basically walk in a direct line, which is going to even include falling into pits or traps and the like. But this is covered in the text here, so that if you're moving into damaging terrain such as lava or a pit, and whenever you take damage from a source other than the Harpy, you repeat the save, and on top of that, you're going to repeat the save every round. Now, of course, if you succeed on the Charmed, you are immune to the song for 24 hours. So how are we going to include this into the Harpy's features here as the attack? Because or as an action because the luring song is going to always be active unless concentration is broken. Well, one way to do that is to add in these conditions here. Now, we do have the charmed condition on top of that, so in essence, we're going to be charmed for 1 round, or for 1 minute, and on top of that, we have the ability to potentially charm up to 2 targets, and then we also have the incapacitated, which is going to be 1 minute as well for 2 targets. So in theory, we'll be adding plus 70 effective hit points to the Harpy here. Now that we have all that taken into account, let's go ahead and finish off our Harpy here to add in the attacks for combat and see what we end up with. So our Harpy can only do the claw attack. We're going to have the luring song going all the time as well. So we'll go ahead and just drop the 6 into concentration here. And when we drop that in, it goes into full attack. We can see all of the information here for our challenge rating right up here. And then the rest is just business here. So what we're looking at is actually a CR1 with the incapacitated and the charmed condition affecting the player here. And we're expecting to affect at least 2 players at any given time between 1 or multiples Harpies here. How would I play the Harpy? So right off the bat here, the Harpy is going to be a group of Harpies. They're communal monsters. You will be using a bunch of these together. Generally speaking, you probably won't be using one unless this is a solo Harpy and you're using it just for the luring song features. The Harpy doesn't have any kind of skills, so there's really no trickery going on here, especially with a charisma of 13. This Harpy is primarily looking to continue the species. That's primarily all they're going to do. They're going to be hunting, they're going to be looking for food, and they're going to be doing it with their luring song. Now, of course, they're only going to be doing this with humanoids that can speak common, generally speaking. Otherwise, because it is a magical melody, we could probably lure in creatures as well. It doesn't necessarily matter, I guess. But the Harpy can speak common, so that's one thing going for it. Before combat is just having the luring song going on. That's their whole thing. They're trapping our players. That's the whole shtick with the Harpy. During combat, the Harpy is going to be using the luring song, and they're not really going to be sitting still. I envision the Harpy here with the luring song moving around and trying to get the target into a trap of some way, falling down a very far pit, or as they show in the example here of the text, even falling into lava. So it depends on where your Harpy is. Maybe this is a frost Harpy of some form, and you're trying to trigger or trap them that way into like a freezing lake or something. So it's all about the luring song during combat. And if the target is able to avoid the trap, then the Harpy's going to move. The Harpy has a 40-foot flying speed, and they don't need to attack. They have very poor offenses, as we can see here in our total here. We only have roughly a offensive CR1 half, which means we're doing piss poor damage. So the idea then is to continuously kite the players or the lured creature around the area until they fall or get hurt or kill themselves, basically. They die somehow. Now, if the Harpy does get attacked and loses concentration on their luring song, they should basically just fly away. They're not offensive, they're not strikers, they don't care about getting face-to-face with the target. So if they're being attacked by casters or ranged attacks, they're going to abandon ship real quick. Although they do have an intelligence of 7, they do have a wisdom of 10. So they have real basic strategies here, which primarily revolve around the luring song. But with that wisdom of 10, they know to get out of dodge real fast if they take a couple hits. And with only 38 average hit points, once they hit about 20-ish hit points left, even before then, I would think that they're going to leave. They're going to fly away, and they're going to abandon their nest for a little while, and then come back when the area is safe, and then start again. So just to wrap up the strategies here, it's the luring song, kiting the players to a trap, and then just abandoning the area if they are getting attacked by ranged sources primarily. There's no reason the Harpy should be landing and fighting in melee unless they've been grounded by a spell or some other ability, maybe a net or something along those lines. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like what I'm doing here and want to support the channel, please join me over on Patreon, where you can get early access to videos, custom monsters that I make, custom subclasses. I'm also doing quests and whatnot, so you'll have the ability to run adventures that I'm making now, as well as a whole bunch of other things. I'm also looking into giving discounts for something in the future if you become a Patreon. So look for that information coming soon as I get ready to offer more of my services as a GM. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.